I'm still hungry.
Do you have something in mind?
Any desserts?
We all enjoy desserts. Whether it's ice cream or chocolate cake, they make most people salivate. Gordon Ramsay loves them as well. In his popular TV shows like Kitchen Nightmares, Masterchef, and Hotel Hell, there are dozens of times when it all comes down to dessert.
On your mark, get set.
Half a store-bought cake.
$74. This place is insane.
In one episode of Hotel Hell, Gordon was visiting yet another place where the food was absolutely dreadful.
Where are the crab cakes? Oh, that's them there, underneath there. I always get nervous when you see white fat like that on the side of the chop.
After tasting 2 dishes, Gordon still found himself starving and asked for dessert.
The peanut butter chocolate decadence, I could do with some of that. Pick me up, please.
Shortly after, the waitress brought him a slice of cake that was cut in half.
And where's the other half gone?
It goes to another person who orders.
Oh, no, I want my other half.
Surprisingly, Gordon liked the cake.
It's actually quite nice. There is hope.
But the owner had something to confess.
That is not a dessert that he made.
Barbara made it.
No,
Somebody else makes desserts.
it's ordered.
Like store-bought.
This was the last straw, and after that, Ramsay told the local chef what he thought of the food he was serving.
My lamb was cold in the middle, the fat was white, it was almost like a mouthful of sugar.
As always, the root cause was much deeper than it seemed.
Why did the chef leave?
Well, her paycheck. She put everything on her charge cards, and she just figured she wasn't paid back.
Jesus Christ almighty.
Having found out how awful the whole situation was, Gordon was completely stunned by the absurdity of it. Liking this video so far? Hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Dessert challenge.
It all comes down to this, dessert.
Gordon Ramsay is fond of cooking competitions, not only from a judge's perspective, but as a participant as well.
50 seconds remaining. 50 seconds remaining.
At the same time, he always gladly shares his experience and offers useful tips. This time, his contender was the famous Italian chef, Gino D'Acampo.
When these soufflés come out of this oven and they go in the dining room, you're going to hear silence across that room because they're going to go, wow.
His opponent showed how to cook panna cotta, which is Italian for cooked cream, and is a traditional Italian dessert that is aromatized with vanilla. You can tell Gordon and his team had a lot of fun while they were cooking.
How did you come up with this recipe?
Oh, for f***'s sake. I've been cooking for 30 f***ing years.
Both chefs did a really good job explaining what they were doing, which made it really satisfying to watch them cook.
Quenelle, hot spoon, in and curl. And that's going to get dropped into the soufflé.
Take it off the heat. We go in with the cream. In there, we're gonna put the vanilla seeds, sugar, boil.
Gordon's team was lucky to taste the soufflé, and it was delicious.
That is amazing. This is so good.
When it came to Chef D'Acampo's, you could tell his teammates were truly stunned by the dessert he made.
Crunchy biscuit for texture. This what it should look like.
Lemon treacle slices from prison.
Who else has eaten the tarts? You've eaten one as well. This is an absolute joke.
Gordon Behind Bars was about how Gordon taught inmates of Brixton Prison how to cook.
My plan's pretty straightforward. This is about getting them working, off their arse, and then working.
The show didn't go placidly. Some of the inmates quarreled with Gordon and his crew, and sometimes there were fights breaking out while they were filming.
Stick your jaw up your arse.
It's no joke, especially when you have 10 criminals in one kitchen surrounded by a bunch of sharp objects. After 6 months of work, they received an offer from Cafe Nero.
By tomorrow, my brigade have got to have 1,100 baked and ready to go.
That's when all inmate chefs had to put themselves together and show their best to sell some products successfully.
David, I've never seen your hand so steady. Really good indeed. Yeah, really good.
Gordon made it clear that the slices must be identical and perfect.
Trust me, I mean, Cafe Nero will be the first on the phone if any are sent back or any issues, complaints, problems.
After the show, a few prisoners were released and given tryouts at different restaurants, including one of Gordon Ramsay's.
There's one thing these guys have got on their side, it's time.
The Gentleman.
Is your deconstructed apple crustade better than a classic?
Yes, Chef.
Masterchef Junior is probably the most fun and impressive competition in Gordon Ramsay's repertoire of TV shows. Judges are always trying to make the kids laugh in order for them to feel comfortable.
Does he ever embarrass you?
Yeah, because he runs around naked and...
Young cook Beni from Chicago took a big risk to make the judges rave.
Why do you need to deconstruct an apple tart?
Beni was absolutely positive that her perfectly cooked deconstructed apple tart would please them.
So you're deconstructing in search for aesthetic beauty?
Yes.
And she was 100% right.
There's not an element
that's done with anything short of perfection. The way that you've cooked the apples down with such a perfect amount of sugar and cinnamon. The cook on the tart shell could not be more perfect.
Gordon was enjoying the dessert so much that he actually licked the plate clean.
That's not what a gentleman does.
I've never called myself a gentleman, Ben. It's fragrant, it's delicious.
Thank you.
This girl totally deserved every compliment and proved she was one of the top young chefs in America.
To be that bold and that tenacious, to deconstruct something, you need to know at the other end, it's as good as the original.
A head-to-head dessert battle.
This is like the most amazing table of goodies.
Another dessert competition was in season 1 of his famous show called The F Word. This show was often visited by different celebrities and television personalities.
How do I explain this? I just walked into an experience.
This time, his guest star and opponent was American actor Adam Scott, and their judge was none other than Glee star Lea Michele. They had a table full of different edibles like a sundae, fresh berries, puddings, and mascarpone.
The secret here, Adam, is to plate a fantastic dessert in 60 seconds with whatever you wish.
Firstly, Adam was pessimistic about him competing with Chef Ramsay.
I'm gonna lose.
No, come on.
While Gordon was making a strawberry shortcake, carefully putting berries and biscuits together, Adam and his teammate had no idea what they should cook, so they were randomly adding things into the bowl.
Oh, get that.
And then?
When the time was up, all they had was mascarpone mixed with a sundae with some raspberries and finger biscuits on top.
It may not look pretty, but I guarantee it tastes weird.
Unlike them, Gordon had his cake complete and ready to eat. But when it came down to tasting both desserts, Leah's decision was actually surprising.
Who's the winner?
I'm gonna eat that all day.
Pumpkin carrot cake.
Right, Ben.
Yes, Chef.
Are you okay?
I'm wonderful.
It can take years of hard work, dedication, and a true passion to reach your dreams. Becoming a chef works the same way. Imagine working on one dish for 5 years and finally getting the opportunity to present it to one of the world's best chefs. That is exactly what happened to Ben Starr, a Masterchef Season 2 contestant.
I've been perfecting this cake for 5 years, and I believe this is the first time I have had the ingredients to be able to give you something that represents me.
Gordon Ramsay was absolutely thrilled when out came this big, appetizing cake.
Finally, Ben Starr has arrived.
He immediately complimented the cake without even tasting it.
That looks phenomenal.
Thank you, Chef.
His reaction was exactly what Ben had been waiting for 5 years.
That is extraordinary. Absolute magic.
The reaction of the second judge, Graham Elliott, was just as overwhelming.
Just letting it finish. My mouth just had an orgasm.
Ha dangly parts.
Chef Ramsay head-to-head with his mom.
Tonight, yes, my mum and I are actually going to go head-to-head with our apple puddings.
As we've already said, Gordon has a huge competitive nature to him. On this episode of The F Word, his opponent was none other than his own mom.
Against my 21 years experience in a professional kitchen, she still reckons that her apple pudding is better than mine.
They would be cooking the same dessert, but using 2 different recipes.
Mine's a new twist on Eve's pudding. And for Mum, I'm not sure what she's doing, but it does have apples in it.
While cooking side by side, Gordon and his mom often made fun of each other.
How you doing?
I'm fine. Do you want your hand?
No. It's nice to have you back in the kitchen again.
Yeah, it's nice working together, Gordon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Don't get used to it, because it's not happening again.
No, I know.
A few minutes after, they were finally ready to put their cakes in the oven. But something definitely went wrong with Gordon's pudding.
Cooked in the middle? Yeah.
Is that cooked in the middle?
Yeah. No.
Oh, shit.
An extra 2 minutes in the oven, and Gordon's dish was ready to compete against his mom's.
3 blind tasters chosen from this evening's diners are waiting to pick a winner.
Oh, that's very nice.
It tastes like, you know, brandy butter that you have with Christmas pudding.
After they tasted both dishes, everyone was ready to hear who won.
Well done, Gordon.
Excellent.
But of course, Chef Ramsay admits
I'd never have won had you not taught me properly, you know that? So it is your fault.
That's the secret.
a cook-off with Jimmy Fallon.
Tonight, you are about to witness an historic culinary battle.
Gordon is not only an amazing chef who runs plenty of top-level restaurants all around the world, and the author of numerous cooking books.
Place a large heat burner. Oh, this is already exhausting.
He is a popular TV personality and a frequent guest on different talk shows and programs. He always makes the shows entertaining, spectacular, and positive, especially when there are a bunch of kids. This time he was the judge, and the contenders were Jimmy Fallon and 10-year-old Masterchef Junior contestants Amaya and Nate.
You'll have exactly 3 minutes to perfect a stunning restaurant-quality crepe using at least 3 of those ingredients.
Despite the young contenders having cooking experience, Gordon kindly helped them when they struggled.
Hey, help me! What are you doing?
There you go.
What is that tool?
As for Jimmy, that wasn't the case.
Jimmy.
Okay, yes, Chef, I'm good, yes.
What is that?
No, that's perfect. You'll see what it is. Wait till it's finished.
When the time was up, Gordon tasted both Nate's and Amaya's desserts, praising them, but totally making fun of Jimmy's efforts.
Describe your mess.
It's a baby crepe, Chef.
A baby crepe.
It's a baby crepe, Chef.
Shortly after, he announced the winner.
Nate, congratulations.
Oh my God.
Another humorous and great cook-off thanks to our favorite chef.
What are you?
Oh my God.
What are you? Come on.
A red velvet cake.
Of course, the red velvet that Mommy makes is going to be beautiful, right? Because Mommy made it.
Ah, good old kitchen nightmares. As we know, Gordon is invited by restaurant owners to spend a week at their failing dining establishment in an attempt to revive the business.
Do me a favor, close the restaurant.
In the first episode of season 5, Gordon went to the restaurant called Blackberries in Plainfield, New Jersey. As always, everything he was served was terrible.
Pork chop is dry. The mac and cheese is way overcooked. It's bland, no seasoning, it's just fried.
With every dish he was served, the situation was getting worse and worse.
Before I do taste them, I'd like to pray to God.
The situation seemed pretty much hopeless, until he was served the dessert.
Red velvet.
Mom Mary makes all of our desserts.
Mum Mary.
To Ramsay's surprise, as well as everyone else's,
Wow, that is delicious. Finally.
he immediately thanked Mary for that amazing dessert.
Delicious. Well done. Wow.
If it wasn't for that cake, Chef Ramsay would have eventually flipped tables. Carrot cake saves the day.
The last thing that people eat is dessert, and if the dessert sucks, that's bad.
And for our top pick, we've chosen his visit to the restaurant called Beni in Ridgewood, New Jersey. That was another place which was a complete mess when Gordon arrived on the scene.
He gets pissed off and he yells,
I don't have all the tickets memorized.
Firstly, he found the place to be closed at 5 p.m., meaning they weren't open for lunch.
What?
Shortly after, he was shown the place itself, which didn't look impressive at all.
Is this it?
Yes, sir.
Wow. It's like being inside a doll's house.
The only thing Gordon could hope for that was good at that point was the menu. Unfortunately for him, the food was disappointing as well.
That's not normal for a chicken to be so hard.
Amazing Bazzini's risotto. That's extraordinary, no?
He was still hungry and asked for dessert. Shortly after, he was served a shockingly beautiful homemade carrot cake made by pastry chef Sharon. To everyone's joy, Gordon absolutely loved the dessert.
Whose recipe is that?
Mine.
Can I have it?
No, for a price. Everything for a price.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
We hope you enjoyed the video. Which dessert was your favorite? Let us know in the comments if we missed any other great sweet moments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that gray notification bell to join our notification squad.